same day they're finding his body and all this kind of stuff, and all this was going on.
Can you imagine his mother going, they found the body, and he's like, oh, yeah, let's play a round of golf.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. So, I mean, I believe Peterson was his own worst enemy, and Garrigus, as early as May, made that big statement about how his client was stone cold innocent and that he was going to find the real killers. Now, when you make a statement like that and you grandstand in front of a bunch of cameras and the whole world sees it, you are perpetuating the media frenzy. You are making it worse because now all the attention is on you. Garrigus was a big attention grabber. He was always wanted to be in the spotlight. He made all kinds of crazy promises, and that's in the appeal too, that he made a bunch of promises that he didn't keep. His opening statement was, hey, this guy's a cad, but he's not a murderer. And then his closing statement was, do you all hate him? But, how can you, I mean, if my attorney got up in my closing statements and said, do you all hate her? I'd be pretty ticked off at him. I'd be like, dude, I mean, yeah, they hate me. You're supposed to get them to like me. You're supposed to get them to believe me. They didn't put Peterson on the stand. An innocent guy, man, he's going to go on the stand. He's going to get on the stand. That's all there is to it. I know we're not supposed to judge that, but that's just human nature.
I remember they were saying, like, friends of the family said that when Scott was a little boy, when he was a baby, that his feet never touched the ground because everyone in the family was always carrying him around and holding him, and he was like 5 years old. His feet never touched the ground. Like, he was such a mama's boy. He was such a spoiled kid his whole life. That selfishness, this whole reaction, like you said, selling the cars, and always trying to sell the house and going golfing. His mother giving him $15,000, just everything provided for him. This kid,
right? He was raised to be a total narcissist.
Right.
His mother coddled him. His father made a lot of demands on him, and as I mentioned before, he commandeered that kid's time. From the time he was a little kid, they wouldn't let him join any clubs. They wouldn't let him play sports. They made him play golf every day, and they wanted to turn him into a pro golfer. Now maybe that was Lee Peterson's. His own personal desire was, I'm going to turn my kid into a golfer, a really great golfer, because I wanted to be a golfer, but my dreams were hijacked, so I'm going to have my kid fulfill my dream. I mean, you see that in parents. Oh, my kid's going to, I had my glory days in high school, but my kid's going to be a pro. So, you see that with people who impose their own dreams upon their child. I kind of feel sorry for Scott when he was a little kid, but he did, I guess, overcompensate by becoming a total malignant narcissist in the meantime. And this guy was always seeking his own needs, his own pleasure, he couldn't care less. And he couldn't care less about the searchers. He was joking around about them. He would leave. He would hang up on people and not answer people's calls. And he'd listen to voicemails and laugh at people who were desperate to talk to him. I mean, they had it all on tape.
Right.
They played those phone calls, and it was like, everyone in that courtroom was appalled at his behavior, appalled at his, he was a sociopath. Everyone who listened to those phone calls knows that's what the case was.
Yeah,
so this is not a nice guy, like his family wants us to believe he's such a nice guy, such a great guy. No, he's actually not. He's a monster.
I forgot about those voicemail calls where you could hear him smirking, and scoffing and stuff. Okay, let's play a little commercial break, okay, because we're already past a half hour. We'll be right back with more of Loretta Dillon, and this is part 2 of her book, Stone Cold Guilty, The People versus...
Excellent. His life's work is excellent.
And now a word from our sponsors. Archival Revival, the Christian Film Archive, is currently paying for vintage Christian films. They are dedicated to preserving and restoring classic Christian films and media. So if you have an original prints, negatives, or other film elements of classic Christian films, or you have audio recording masters for classic Christian record albums, they want to buy them from you. So email archival.revival@gmail.com, and they're going to make you an offer. Archival Revival wants to preserve these classic Christian films so that they continue saving people for years. These films have brought people to salvation. They want to continue that. Their staff has decades of experience in handling and preserving of film elements, and they utilize the very best climate-controlled film storage facilities around the world. Contact them today at archival.revival@gmail.com. If there's someone you know has these prints, negatives, recording masters, or other materials from vintage Christian films, you can check out their blog at archivalrevival.blogspot.com. Now, just so you understand, Archival Revival wants to pay you for these films. So you can look in your church attic, in the church basement. If you have a friend who runs a Christian youth ministry or these youth vacation Bible study camps, they have these old films in those big metal containers, 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter. Archival Revival wants to buy them from you. So this is a sponsor that actually wants to give you money. And all you have to do is contact them, tell them what you have. If you're in the UK or Ireland or Africa, these films are all over the world, and they're gathering dust, and they're going to deteriorate if they don't get into the hands of Archival Revival. So that's archival.revival@gmail.com, or the blog spot is archivalrevival.blogspot.com. Don't forget, this show is brought to you by pscoco.com. Phoebe Sod is an independent curator with the Cocoa Exchange. The Cocoa Exchange is formerly known as Dove Chocolate Discoveries, and they make the finest silky smooth chocolate because the products start with the best cocoa beans, which are tested for quality and flavor by expert technicians. The Cocoa Exchange offers not just premium chocolates, but anything from sauces and spices to brownie and cake mixes, and even coffee and martini mixes. If you wish to treat yourself or someone you love to a sweet and tasty gift, then the Cocoa Exchange is the brand for you. So you go to pscoco.com, you click on the Shop Now button, you can see all their beautiful chocolates. You can order it right now tonight. It could be in your mailbox in a couple of days. Or if you want to get into the chocolate business, you want to be a chocolatier just like Phoebe Sod, you can click the Contact Us button, and you can learn how to get your own website, go into the cocoa chocolate business, and sell chocolate and make a little bit of money there. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. But you also do all the kind of different services for you. An online dating service investigation. It's called an online infidelity investigation. And that's where you give us your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's email address, and we trace it back to their online dating websites, and we return a list of all the dating sites that email is registered to. We can expand on that investigation and trace it back to porn sites, escort service sites, swinger sites, even gambling websites, and even prescription drug websites. If you think your ex-husband or something is addicted to prescription medication or involved in a extreme online pornography addiction, we can produce a report for you that you can use in court. Adoption investigations. If you want to locate your birth parents or your birth child you gave away for adoption, we can do adoption investigations for you. Asset searches for you. Locate bank accounts, hidden assets, hidden properties, hidden income, all different kinds of services in the asset search investigation. Email tracing. If you need to locate or identify somebody from just an email address, we can do an email trace investigation for you, and all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. We're here with Loretta Dillon, and we're talking about her book, Stone Cold Guilty, The People versus Scott Lee Peterson. This is the part 2. You know what? I was looking off the air while the commercial was playing. The part about the stealth jurors.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, what a reach. What was that guy, Faulkner? The guy with the sunglasses?
Justin Faulkner, right. He was kicked off the trial after 13 days.
Right, but Garagos had to have a heart attack because he was totally in his pocket. But maybe he's the one who planted the body because he wasn't accounted for. Maybe he's the one who went down.
Really. Well, I just thought of something.
Go ahead.
There was a guy that knew Peterson who sent a tip to the to Brachini and said the guy's name was Miguel Espidia, Espidia, and he told Brachini that Peterson had once told him that he would tie a bag around the neck of how he would murder somebody,
right,
or how he would dispose of a body, that he would tie a bag around the neck and then attach the neck with duct tape and put weights on the hands and throw it in the sea. Now, that A&E special doesn't talk about how Scott Peterson had told somebody how he would dispose of a body. All right, now let's say you and I were out having a beer, which we wouldn't, but let's just say we did, and I told you, if I was going to kill somebody, I would kill him in my house and claim self-defense. That'd be the only way I would get away with it without a big deal. Now, I wouldn't do that, so nobody go and tell anybody that I'm going to do that. But Peterson mentions how he would dispose of a body.
Did that guy ever testify?
So he had already thought of that when which explains why he bought the boat, why he decided to do it that way, because he thought that would be the best way to get away with it.
Did that guy testify, or was he excluded?
Brachini testified to that tip.
Okay.
Because there was this whole little, thing about, we called it duct gate, because when they brought up the duct tape that was attached to Laci's body, Garrigus got all upset about it, and then he tried to claim that it was prejudicial, etc. But anyway, opening statements are not evidence. So the fact that there was a tip, it becomes hearsay at that point. So he didn't put this guy on the stand, or the prosecution didn't, and Garrigus didn't bring him in either. So again, if they didn't show up as a witness, I'm not going to give it a whole lot of weight, and neither would you. If you were a lawyer and you're like, well, we got this guy that claims this, but for whatever reason you don't put him on the stand, there's a reason for that. And so, but it was interesting that some of that stuff, that is, some of this speculation that Scott was framed by somebody who, used duct tape on the body. And then earlier on, we find out that Scott himself used that idea for, to get rid of a body. And that's pretty scary. But anyway, they, I wanted to mention also that, the stealth jurors, they did catch some jurors that had agendas. Now, when you have a big case like this, it's a hard way to get a jury. You have a 5-month trial. How many of us could take that much time off? I couldn't. I'd starve. It would be hard to find people who could take that much time off, who didn't have any opinions about the case, or who would apply the death penalty. There was a pretty narrow range of potential jurors, right? And they got a jury. it took them 10 weeks to find a jury. That's a long time to seat a jury. So, pardon me. It was weeks and weeks before they finally sat a jury. So Garrigus says, oh, well, we had these people that had an agenda, and they claimed that Rochelle Neese had an agenda, and it turns out that she was dismissed from the jury, and Garrigus told DeLucchi she could stay on the jury. So he put her back on.
That's one with the red hair?
Yeah, he put her back on. Garrigus put Rochelle Neese on the jury.
Yeah, and his complaint about her is so minimal, too, that she had filed a restraining order against someone. That is kind of like a divorce, because it says anything but divorce, and that's so similar to the divorce type of family court. She did it in family court, I can guarantee you that. And it wasn't even a big assault or anything. Right. It was just one of those, stupid drama. You have so many of those dramas that, go to court, and they're all just nonsense. You trespass and they call it an assault. Or you swear at somebody, whatever. You know how those are. You go through it all the time. But anyway, there were no, the other thing, the computer. Now, they claim that Laci was on the computer the morning of the 24th searching for an umbrella. But in fact, we did a very thorough examination of that, and so did the computer forensic guy. And it turns out that when Scott logged in to Yahoo, it was very similar to what happens now. When you go to Facebook or you go to Twitter, well, not so much Twitter, but Facebook, or you go to if I go to a site and Amazon has,
you know, if I've been on Amazon recently, let's say I was looking for tennis shoes on Amazon yesterday, but then today I log into Facebook. Guess what ad pops up if I don't have an ad blocker? I'm going to get an ad for tennis shoes because they followed me from my